Live and recording. You know, it's so funny because when we start doing this, before we were waiting, but then I've been reviewing some of the videos, and you actually do, even before that record button hits for whatever reason, but the record button has to do with how we are uploading on our podcast. So that is the big difference. So we just want to let everyone know that. That's why sometimes you won't hear us chatting right away. You see us, but he's like, what are they doing? That's what we're doing. But good morning, everyone. Guess what today is? My favorite day of the week. A lot of people's favorite day of the week, I have to say. Hold on, we got something going on in the background here. Just give me 1 second. We had some little glitch there, but anywho, because it is, hump day for some people, but for us, it's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Boss, giving you a great good morning with
TwoSistas. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janis, AKA Wellness Diva 5.0. And I forgot what I put on the tagline. I'm trying to get to our page right now. Yeah, welcome to my age. Anyways, Wealth Wellness Wednesday. So yesterday I briefly chatted about that I was going to a walk, and I really wanted to hold off on chatting about that because I've never been to something like what I went to yesterday. And I really wanted to, when I chatted about it, be well informed, so to speak. So anyways, yeah, all right. I see that. There we are, the page. There we go. Okay. So I went to, and I'm going to do air quotes, a protest yesterday. It was a very peaceful protest. Yes, there were there were songs. We marched down the street, and it was, for me, it was the 3-month mark since my son Ryan Scott suffered a life-threatening injury. So it was very emotional for me, as from a parent standpoint. And I wanted to show my support, not only for my son, but for those who have suffered through so much, not just Ryan, but everyone that has suffered so much with the different illnesses and things that have popped up as a result of certain jabba-dabba-doos, and the consequences that not only the person who suffered the injury, but their families as well that are going through all of this. There is just so much going on, and I wanted to show my support for all in that arena. It was held in Cambridge, Mass, and we marched from the Pfizer headquarters to Moderna, which is approximately 0.2 of a mile. I did do some Facebook Lives because, again, I wanted to show my support for everyone, but I also wanted to document how peaceful it was. I mean, were we loud? Yes, we were loud. Protests are generally loud, but it was a very calm protest. It was, there were no burning cars. We didn't burn anything down. It wasn't anything like that. And
I'm going to interject for a second. Yeah. So did you wear a certain colored clothing that you couldn't be identified in?
No.
Did you have backpacks with bricks and cash and objects that could lead you in such a way that would assist you in breaking windows?
No.
Did you have walkie-talkies? You had cell phones, but did you have walkie-talkies? Did you have coverings that would impede law enforcement identifying you as a human being?
No, not at all.
Did you encourage others and incite in such a way where that person would be caught up in the moment and decide to burn an American flag, overturn a vehicle? If law enforcement was present, get in their faces? Was there any of that?
Not at all.
Kudos to that group.
Yes, definitely. And I do want to also give a shout out to the Cambridge police department who were very, and I was watching their faces and I could see the pain on some of their faces, like as almost if they wanted to join in. Obviously they could not. But I could tell from some of them that they really felt all the different speeches that were going on. And I'll share something in just a moment. But it was interesting to me when we got to the Moderna site. Now, we parked right down that street, whatever that street name is, in a garage, and we had to walk by Moderna. So as we're going to meet our group at Pfizer, my friend Lisa Marie said, "Oh, I want to get a snapshot of this." And there were, I call them henchmen or henchwomen, security type of people that were in the building across the street that's also, I assume, associated with Moderna. And they're like, hey, you can't take a picture. This is private property. So we're like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. We marched, we go to Pfizer. We were there for a while, and then we marched back to the Moderna website. So I heard myself on the video because I couldn't really see what I was doing because it was bright, but I did hear myself say something to the effect that when we go walk by her, because obviously the henchmen were still out there, I'm going to show that I'm recording. And basically, that was my way of like a ha-ha moment, not to be rude, not to be obnoxious, but that we are a free country and it is within my constitutional right to do that. Again,
yeah, I mean, the Moderna, security, if you were obviously entering the building or in their faces or whatnot, I find that comment from the Moderna henchmen, whatever you want to call them, ironic, since we witnessed live multiple times, you actually witnessed certain movements within our country while they were in the act of a criminal offense with breaking and entering, stomping on people, beating each other up, running in and stealing goods. Those are not considered private property, so I find that kind of comical.
Right. And the other comical thing for me, and I guess if you could call it comical, was watching the workers in the Moderna building who were face planted against the glass with their masks on.
Well, you got to find, I would find, I'm sure they're Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, let's face it, Big Pharma has made some big bucks off of this virus. Let's be real clear about that. If you don't think, yes, capitalism, I totally agree with that. But it's undeniable the big money that not only they made off of this virus, off of other things. So they're paying their staff quite hefty, from what I understand. So I guess if you have a place of employment that's going to pay you hefty and you got to wear a mask, so be it. I guess it's you do have certain people that are quote whistleblowers from Moderna, especially from Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, that tell you they are not easy to work with. There are a lot of restrictions, and yeah, I guess it's if the money outweighs your safety of breathing in your own toxins all day long, more power to you. Because again, that's another long-term effect of wearing a mask that we're not going to know right now. You're going to have some people that may have underlying conditions like asthma, or whatever, where you're going to see some results now. But the average person that's a healthy person, if they're continually wearing masks all day long for months at a time, and I think at this point we can say for almost a year at a time, there will be some long-term effects. And I hope the money was worth it.
Most certainly. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was, there are some cafes or little restaurants, whatever, and people that were sitting outside wearing their masks. And I thought, well, definitely, you know, I support anybody who wants to do that. Like, that's your constitutional right. I get it. But I also thought that it was sad in the way that we have been so conditioned that people are doing that. And back to the speeches that were given, we recognize, you know, because we were on a Zoom about a week ago, and I was with a friend of mine and her dad at the protest yesterday, and we recognize one of the organizers, I guess, that's associated with this group. So we wanted to say hello and you know, thank them for putting all this together. And she said to me, and you know, kudos for her recognizing us. She said, oh, she pointed at me, your son had a life-threatening injury. And I said, yes, my son did. And she says, well, you know, you just need to speak it out. And I'm like, okay. I was a little, I don't want to say fearful, but I guess I looked at my friend and she says, are you okay to do this? Because I must have had a look like, holy crap. And I said, yes, you know, this is in honor of not only my son, but for those who have suffered. And, you know, people need to know. And there were probably about 5 or 6 different people with bullhorns for a moment there, right before I spoke. It was like all sudden silence. And the gal said, you need to meet, you need to listen to what Janis has to say. She wants to tell you a quick story. So I was like, okay. And here I am talking through this bullhorn, maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds, explain, you know, what happened with my son. And I did say, and I watched the feedback, and my friend is going to send it to me again because it didn't come through too well through the cell phone. And I did say, the one that begins with a P. I'm just going to say it. Pfizer. I said, as something to the effect, as Ryan's mom, I am holding you personally liable. Not that that means anything to anybody, but it was my way of saying, I know what you did. I know what you did. We know that people go into, and I know that my son did this, went into taking this shot based on the best information that he found and made that choice for himself. So it was my way of saying, you know, people, you want to get the shot, the jabba dabba do, or whatever we want to call it, do it with knowledge. Do it because you truly believe in it, not because somebody is mandating you to do it, because we all know that mandate is a coercion, which is an ultimatum. Nobody wins with that. The only
and what I'm going to interject, they don't. And the bottom line is, I think if you were to actually poll those that already have received the arm juice, you would find that most of them are now refusing to get the booster. Mm-hmm. Not because, you know, obviously for some, I just chatted about this with somebody else. I know more people that have had a serious side effect than I do that got the virus and or that died. I personally do not know anyone that died from the virus. That doesn't mean that obviously there's tons of people that did, and one life is too many, but I personally do not know anyone. I have limited knowledge of how many people that I know. When I say limited knowledge, most people I know think they might have gotten the virus, but very few were actually tested and went through a horrible time. There's only a very few, and they survived it. what I'm finding now is more and more people are speaking out about having an adverse reaction. Some it happens quite quickly, others it's like a month or two down the road. Other times it's little tidbits. So you start seeing some slight changes. The ones that are with the slight changes are generally people that are older anyways. And you might not think it's directly correlated with getting the arm juice, but you may have a loved one that suffers from dementia. I already know five people I know that are either at the early stages of dementia or, kind of into it. And all of a sudden, it's like on fast forward now, despite the other preventative medicines that they're on for that particular disease. All of a sudden now they're much worse. People that, never had balance issues, very healthy people, and all of a sudden their lower extremities, they're having issues. The twitters in the hands, the shaking, the wringing of the ear, the headaches, and then more severe ones like you were talking about and sharing with Ryan. And I think if people were to poll most people that I personally know that received it based on what you said, based on the knowledge at that time. But now we are, 6 months into this post initiation of this arm juice. And while you see many are having instant reactions, and I find that that's more in the 30 to 40-year-old range and teenage boys. I mean, look, you were marching right in Cambridge, where a trooper lies in UMass, no, not UMass, it might be Brigham and Women's, I can't remember, but a Boston hospital in the ICU. It's a state trooper that received the arm juice, did not take it because, they were going to mandate it, and they're still going back and forth with that. And, within days, all of a sudden cannot work, and he's been in the ICU ever since. Blood clots, serious things, people. So I think while many took the information early on based on what was fed to them and spoon-fed to them without really knowing the consequences, everyone that I know that received it, other than I think 2 people, received the booster. Everyone else said, nope, I'm not getting the booster. Had I known what I know now, I would have never even initially got this arm juice. That's
right. That's very scary. And, I know that Ryan knows a lot of people who, through friends or whatnot, that have gotten COVID and unfortunately have passed. And again, he made his decision based on what he knew at that time. So it's just, I don't know what more I can say about it. And I will be doing a blog post about it, and I hope to have that up today or tomorrow. So keep a look out for that on our website. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened with me yesterday. And I was glad that I had, my friend with me. And as we were walking back to leave, we did walk by quite a few Cambridge policemen, and we said, hey, thank you for keeping everyone safe today, and they kind of looked at us like, wow, thank you. And, just, it goes to reason that, they obviously, any first responder, policemen, state troopers are constantly putting their lives on the line. And, to have that support of keeping everybody safe was a lot. I would say that I was definitely quite the observer yesterday. I wanted to see the passion in people's faces, the expression. I wanted to hear the expression of their voices, not just to hear it, but to listen what other people had to say about it. And it really was an experience. In fact, when we got in the car, I'm like, okay, when's the next one coming up?
That's awesome. You know, I'd be curious, did any speaker give any kind of stats, statistics?
Yes, they were talking about, and I'm not sure if it was on one of my Facebook Lives, but about the percentage of children that is pretty much like extremely low, like below low. And I forgot what they said, but only 2 children within their county, I believe is how she put it, had even mild, were mild type of symptoms. They tested positive. So it just goes to show you, the mask mandates in certain school districts. Like, it's got to stop. And again,
Well, it's even scarier because I received word that pediatricians are now contacting their patients to schedule the orange juice for the children. And I had a mom was chatting to me about that, and I said, wait a minute. And then she reminded me that on October 26th, and people need to get out, and you can leave FDA comments. They are in the final phases of approving the arm juice from 5 to 12 years old or 5 to 11 years old. And we should actually, I'll send you the link, and we could, we'll make sure that we get it up on our website. If you are against a mandate for children 5 to 11 years old, you should be very concerned and worried, because as we've already talked about, these mandates are coming fast and furious. And to now have pediatricians contacting their patients. Okay, let's schedule an appointment, almost like a sales pitch of, let's redo your windows. That's pretty scary. And I think that there's a lot of coin dangled carrots going around from these major corporations that are nothing but filth and greed and power hungry. I've never, ever, I don't think most people in our lifetime could ever witness a government or these big corporations spewing the amounts of money and carrots to get people to comply. It's mind-boggling at best.
It certainly is. And Wealth Wellness Wednesday. So we shared obviously a lot of information on what transpired yesterday. And Carol, so I'm just going to throw it over to you for just a moment. I have to run and get my water for a moment.
All righty. Wealth Wellness Wednesday, we love this day because we also talk about, here we're talking about big corporation money. We know that it is. And sadly, you have so many people out there that are, entrepreneurs, really trying to change up the game, whether they're working for themselves, decide they were going to take that leap of faith, but also have to understand and recognize, as well as anyone that works in brick and mortar, that you have to have a healthy relationship with money to create change. Sadly, there are corporations that are using their powerful money in a negative way to make change, to force change. We're talking about having a healthy relationship with money so you can make positive changes within your community. So what does that mean? It's actually going out and having a financial exchange with someone that you don't know, not your favorite organization, not your normal charity, not even your church. It's about changing the mindset of other people with a financial exchange that they're not expecting. Because we often talk about what is the greatest emotion of all for all human beings is gratitude. And what better way to, we always talk about it's better to give than receive, but actually I think the giver is also the receiver of the gift, because they get to witness the person that they don't know. Sometimes if you're kind of watching to see who ends up with that, but sometimes it's just the mindset of knowing you can't put a face to who you had that financial exchange with. You don't know how it impacted their day. You don't know what maybe, a few dollars might have changed the trajectory of someone's mindset. And that's what Wealth Wellness Wednesday is all about. So how do you do that? Well, I've got a picture of a couple different things that I've done in the past. And what I'm going to do today is putting it in a little envelope or whatever. Doesn't matter about the dollar amount. So make no mistake, it's the act. It's not the dollar amount. It could be $1, $5, $50. Sometimes you'll find people that go out on Wealth Wellness Wednesday and maybe they normally leave a 15% tip. Well, they decide today they're going to do a 30% tip. They don't know that server, but they wanted to really change her day, brighten her mood, because we know how much, our servers, they work so hard. And that particular industry was hit extremely hard with the virus. So we always want to give back a little bit extra. Maybe it's you're in Walmart or your favorite store, and you put it in a little envelope and you just stick it in maybe a diaper box or a box of formula, box of baby food. Maybe sometimes I'll go to like whatever my favorite food is of the day, because sometimes that changes, and I'll just put it in between. Like sometimes I love these. They're little pitas. They're just these tiny little things, but they're great for dipping. So sometimes I'll come and I'll have Scotch tape, and I'll just tape it to that, and whoever picks that up. Maybe I do it to the coffee lovers who I'm not promoting coffee. You know how I feel about caffeine. Maybe it could be something on an energy drink. So I'm in the fitness. Maybe it is a fitness sportswear, and you just tape it on the inside. So I always have to make sure I have a little tape with me. But you can get very creative. A lot of times, sometimes I'll do it in the gas station, where you put your credit card in. Put the little card in there with some money. And that one I actually tend to try to watch and wait, because obviously people are filling up regularly because the gas price literally changes right before your eyeballs, right? And frequently I'll find them kind of looking around. And, am I on candid camera? Like, is this real? So it's kind of cool to see that. And then they get happy and excited. And I've actually witnessed 2 people actually add to it and leave it there. They take it out, put their credit card in, fill up. They look to see what it's about. They kind of think it's cool. And I've actually witnessed people taking their own money and putting it in there and putting it back in there. So it's a domino effect of spreading kindness, goodness, and gratitude. That is what Wellness Wednesday is all about. It's about taking action. Jan took action yesterday for an important cause, going up against a corporation that sadly, these corporations have tons of money. They could impact so much in our lifetime. The poor, the hungry, building, making safe havens for the homeless, but yet theirs is about greed. So we're not talking about that kind of money, because for me, that kind of money, if you're not using it to help others, it's about greed. We're talking about making change within ourselves, small changes that are going to impact many just by how they feel and getting that feeling of gratitude. And that's what Wealth Wellness Wednesday is all about.
Yes, it is. On a final note, I just want to say that I'm blessed. So thank you, everyone, for the continued reach outs and, asking about Ryan and also asking about how his parents are doing. So much appreciated. Thank you so much. My name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol Sweet, aka Naughty Boss. Tomorrow we're super excited because one of us will not be present, and we have another sister filling in. Who will that sister be? You'll have to find out tomorrow morning. I believe going on 8 or 9 o'clock. I never know, so I'm not even going to go there. You're just going to be surprised. 8 a.m. Yeah, we try to keep it at the 8 a.m. timeline. So I'm excited about that. And we wish you a great Wealth Wellness Wednesday. Go out there, make a difference. Show people the gift of gratitude and share that's just the greatest emotion of all for human beings, to be sharing with each other. And we will see you tomorrow on Trending Thursday. And then, of course, leading up to all important Fantabulous Friday. You guys have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.